And these titties were brought to you by Blue Apron. Blue Apron, where you can make your own food.
Watch me cook in nothing but a Blue Apron.
Exactly, right? Like.
All right, you know what else I love?
Yeah, finish that one, please.
Yep, go ahead.
I love everything in Poderation, the podcast that's starting right now. Hi, guys. It's me, Daily. I've been sick, but I'm okay now. So that means I'm totally ready to talk about OnlyFans, which you can follow me on. You can't. But maybe I should make one and just put out no content.
Or you can do a safe for work OnlyFans. A
safe for work. I just take pictures of my cats, but you have to pay for them because they are worth money, I think, in my
slight
opinion.
Tweak for SEO. You take pictures of your pussies.
There we go.
Yep, perfect.
I have all these hits ever since I changed that word. I don't know why. I guess it's just more popular. Anyway, so I'm Daily. Today we're talking about when the internet can be too much. And one great example of that is the flip-flop, the rise and fall, the deflated moment that OnlyFans has had this past month.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hi, I'm Colin. Daily, this is probably going to be the only time I'll say this, let's hope. I'm kind of glad you were sick because...
Thanks.
Hard stop, period.
Just hard stop, just period. I'm kind of glad you were sick. That's the intro. Yeah, no, go fuck yourself, Daily. That because it allowed this only because this OnlyFans story developed while you were sick, and now we are actually getting the most up-to-date story where OnlyFans is walking it back. They're bringing back porn or allowing porn still, I guess. They're like, never mind, guys. JK, just kidding. It's just a prank, bro. It's still happening.
And hi, I'm Robert. I'm a reverse policy decision made after people on Twitter got angry. This is an interesting story to me only because it's like, I see why OnlyFans made the decision, but I also don't see why they made the decision, if that makes sense. Like, I see the evidence that they had on the table, and then it's like, they made the really wrong choice.
Yeah, they highly, I think, underestimated there. Because and we'll get into it, but it's interesting that whenever I saw, like, the announcement that it's, like, OnlyFans, which is known for having people on it, like Cardi B and Tyga and other names, and I was like, that is not what I know OnlyFans for.
No. I didn't even know they all had an OnlyFans, if I'm being honest.
Hearing about OnlyFans' ban of sexually explicit content, which is what I associate OnlyFans with, is the first time I learned that there are sexually or not explicit communities on OnlyFans as well.
Yeah, the only other time I've heard about non-explicit adult content OnlyFans pages are when it's like a parody from another content creator, like Moist Critical. I think he did one. And then Jared Dines, who's another like guitarist YouTuber, like he would joke around about it. And I can't remember if he actually made one or not. But like, other than that, yeah, it's all been the sex, and things.
Yeah, which isn't to say that the unexplicit content on OnlyFans is not valid. I just think that it's more of a marginal community than as compared to the sexually explicit content on OnlyFans.
Yeah, and I'd like to take this moment to jump in because I did look up. I googled safe for work OnlyFans pages just to see what would actually show up, and the conclusion I came to is that saying you're on OnlyFans just for the not sex is the same thing as like in the 80s saying I only read Playboy for the articles. It's like the 2021 version of that, right? Because a lot of the safe for work OnlyFans I saw were like fitness accounts, like Let's Get Fit, which to me it's like, for one, there's so many of those for free on Instagram. I don't know why you would pay for it. Two, depending on your sex drive, I feel like that's just one step away from the millions of other accounts you could see on OnlyFans.
It's a gateway.
Anyway. Right. And then there's another one I found of someone who's like an expert in mushrooms and also dabbles in tarot. And I'm like, that's cool, but I don't know if I would pay X dollars a month for that content either.
I would.
Sure.
Send me a link, dude.
It's called Only Fungi. Only Fungi.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
brilliant.
there you go. Free plug for that person.
For Only Fungi.
The fact of the matter is a lot of content creators, or really any sort of creator, if they're making safe for work content, most of them are over on Patreon. So like,
I mean, before we had OnlyFans, oftentimes people that like also did like lewd photo shoots or like buy my secret Snapchat would do that via Patreon.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the thing. I think that OnlyFans tried to divorce themselves from it, because I don't know if you've noticed, if you go to the official OnlyFans YouTube page or scroll through their Twitter before they announce these decisions, like they're only promoting the really clean business, safe for work kind of stuff on their platform. And it's like, it's cool that you want to build that image, but you realize if like a parent hears that their kid is on OnlyFans, they're not going to be like, oh man, that mushroom content must be so fucking clutch. Like,
getting some recipe pointers from people, from real chefs.
No, they're going to be worried. It's like, oh my God, my child is on the you pay for titty network.
Yeah, don't worry, Mom.
Dare you pay for titties? You can just Google them.
I'm just hanging out on Omegle with people,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Omegle's always been fine.
Yeah, it's just a chatting platform. Nothing worrisome.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I don't know, man. This is just, I mean, marketing 101. I mean, you're known for something and you stick with it and you make money off of it. They already built such a strong reputation. And why would you then try to back out, switch directions, and then try to compete with Patreon?
Here's why.
Here's why.
Okay, so it was the 19th, August 19th, and I believe it was like the next day, or that day of, we were planning on recording a podcast, and we were like, oh, there's bigger fish to fry here that we need to talk about, because OnlyFans announced that they were banning all sexually explicit content on their platform. And that means like shows, promotes, or advertises or refers to sexually explicit content, which means actual or simulated sexual intercourse, actual or simulated masturbation, exhibition of anus or genitals, actual or simulated material depicting bodily fluids, etc., etc. Basically, content.
Man, there's nothing less horny than taking horny phrases and legalizing them.
Of course I'm not on OnlyFans for that, but it's like, no, that's you're on OnlyFans for that. But OnlyFans said, in order to ensure the long-term sustainability of our platform and continue to host an inclusive community of creators and fans, we must evolve our content guidelines. And then when everyone was like, what the fuck does that even mean? This is a dumb decision. This is like what was the tweet? I'll need to give proper citation in the episode description, but it was like, this is like a titty bar saying that they're going to get rid of the titties to focus on their hot wings because that's
Hooters.
what the investors want.
Hooters. It's just Hooters.
It's Hooters without the two O's.
Yeah.
So Hooters.
Hooters.
Haters.
Hooters gonna hoot.
They placed a lot of the onus on like, Visa and MasterCard don't like us having all this sexually explicit content, because then they're roped into that because that's how people pay for the sexually explicit content.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can pay for porn and like in a bunch of other places. It's not like OnlyFans is the only one,
Right, but this is kind of not necessarily hot off the heels because it happened a little while ago. But if you remember, there was that big Pornhub kerfuffle, right, where MasterCard and Visa threatened to pull out support from Pornhub because the site hosted like revenge porn and like child porn. Like without Pornhub, I don't assume the people at Pornhub were like, yeah, we need more of that child pornography, baby. Like,
no,
I think it was more user generated, right? But still,
right.
That like it was the New York Times who broke that story, and then MasterCard and Visa were like, hey, we're not gonna keep processing payments if that's the shit you have. And I think it feels like this OnlyFans thing is the next evolution of MasterCard and Visa trying to stray away from adult oriented content.
Yeah. It's interesting you bring that up. So that was on December 14th of 2020 that Pornhub pulled any non-verified content, so it could only be content that was uploaded by verified users in order to ostensibly prevent child porn or revenge porn from being a thing. And Vice noted at the time that some sex workers fear not just a blow to their income because of this decision, but to the adult industry as a whole, because if payment processors target smaller platforms in the future, then what's going to happen? Here we are today. OnlyFans
is back.
Is now it's back. Now it's back because it was literally 6 days later that OnlyFans decided, wait, you're right, that was a bad decision. We are going to have not safe for work content after all.
Which is so ironic, right? Because the whole initial idea of their banning the not safe for work shit was to make a more inclusive place, right?
It's just such a buzzword at this point.
It really is, because it's like, we're going to make it inclusive by getting rid of the people that we don't like, which is segregation. Literally the opposite of inclusion. Yeah. It's just so silly. And I mean, look, I'm not a sex worker. I don't know anyone personally who's a sex worker, but it doesn't take me too long on Twitter to see some discrimination against sex workers, right? So I think if there's anyone who deserves actual for real inclusion, it might as well be the people who have actually been able to turn OnlyFans into such a powerful brand that it has an identity now. That identity might be for sex workers, but that doesn't make it a bad identity, right? That just makes it one that has staying power in the community. And it's just MasterCard and Visa being like, but we don't like that one.
Yeah. And I can understand ostensibly the idea of like, well, we want to make sure that no one's being taken advantage of, but that's the same kind of wording that people use when banning any kind of sex work and making it more dangerous for people who either it's okay if you want to be a sex worker. Whoa, controversial statement.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be inherently being taken advantage of in order to do that. But when there's laws in place that make it really difficult to do so, you might be put into a situation where it is dangerous for you to be a sex worker.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of stuff with just general process and the way we look at things. And also maybe some laws here and there probably need to shift around a little bit to encourage companies to be okay with this sort of thing. But the thing is, I feel like it's just not fair to say that, like, oh, we're just not going to support, this particular website because they have user-generated content they may or may not include people being taken advantage of. When you have a platform like YouTube that has, I don't know, probably tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of hours of content that is questionable at best and absolutely abhorrent at worst, with animals being murdered, child pornography gets uploaded to YouTube all the time.
Colin, it's just a prank, bro.
Yeah, I mean, if
you say that at the end, then everything's fine.
It's all fine.
Yeah, then everything's fine. But yeah, my point is though, is like, I can fucking go on YouTube and use my credit card to rent a movie, to subscribe to YouTube Premium, and those companies don't have a single problem with that. And I mean, everyone knows that YouTube has this problem of all of this terrible content being uploaded to it. But the thing is, when you have a platform that is prominent, you have a lot of users, that you're getting a lot of content uploaded to it. naturally you're going to have questionable content being uploaded there. And the fact is you just can't police it all. Like you can have algorithms in place to maybe get rid of a lot of it and take down a lot of it quickly. But the minute you have user uploaded content, I mean, that you're just opening a can of worms that you can have the tools to mitigate a lot of it, but you're not going to fix it completely.
Yeah, which is why we do have, laws in place that YouTube itself isn't liable if, copyrighted content or inappropriate content gets uploaded onto its platform. It has the obligation to then do something about that, but it's not like YouTube got taken down. YouTube would have been a bygone thing if that was the case of what happens when like someone uses the internet for bad.
Yeah, it's Section 230, right? But I think you don't even need to look that far to see an example of people being taken advantage of, and the money people still being okay with it, because I think the porn industry is in and of itself kind of notorious for taking advantage of the actors and actresses that are on the stage, the set, whatever, right? Like every time I see a porn star AMA and someone asks about OnlyFans, you pretty often see this sentiment that's like, oh, OnlyFans is great because I find like I control my schedule, I control my content, I do things I'm comfortable with, and I'm not being taken advantage of, right? So if the money people really want to avoid fueling an industry where people are being taken advantage of, OnlyFans is super not that place. I'm not going to say blanket statement, no one gets taken advantage of on OnlyFans, right? But like, the problem is definitely far more apparent from my understanding in the old school porn industry, or like the classic porn, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah. I mean, and they're putting policies and stuff into place, and there's a lot of professional companies that go out of their way in the professional porn industry to make sure that like a lot of the stuff that those horror stories that you hear about with like porn stars and stuff don't happen. It's actually a fairly small percentage from what I understand from hearing like interviews with porn stars and stuff like that like a lot of that stuff, surprisingly, like it's a very small portion of it. It's just that those stories get, a big platform for what, I mean, it's terrible for sure, but also there's a little bit of a bias where people want to think, they kind of want to think that the porn industry is all bad, when for a lot of people it's extremely lucrative.
Yeah, I mean, any industry is going to be able to take advantage of people, but the more hush secret, we don't talk about this at the dinner table that it is, the more easy it's going to be for shady shit to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we started watching movies over 100 years ago, and just now all this stuff is like coming to light about how shitty the movie industry is, right? Like over the past like 5 to 10 years, so it's one of those things where it's like, if you keep quiet and you just don't talk about, stuff that goes on, then I mean, it's just more likely that people are going to get abused, and those places can get away with more stuff.
Activision Blizzard. What was that?
Hello?
What? Anyway, so OnlyFans pretty quickly reversed its decision after all this backlash. And I mean, I can't imagine what would have happened if they had like kept this idea going toward the I think October 1st was the deadline, but They reversed it pretty quick, saying on their Twitter, "Thank you to everyone for making your voices heard. We have secured assurances necessary to support our diverse creator community and have suspended the planned October 1st policy change. OnlyFans stands for inclusion, and we will continue to provide a home for all creators." What this tells me is a lot of the wording very much puts the onus on like, it was the investors and MasterCard and Visa. We would never make this decision personally. But they kind of did.
Yeah.
Kind of did, though.
So as soon as they announced that this was something that they were going to implement, I mean, they already burned themselves. The damage is already done.
Yeah, the trust is gone between the community and the the platform.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people on Twitter that are OnlyFans creators that are like, OnlyFans may have like reversed their decision, but there's nothing saying that they couldn't do that later. So I already jumped to like, I don't know, Fansly is the big one I've seen going around. Like I've already jumped ship to Fansly. I'm just going to stick with that instead. Some people are like, I'm going to post on both. Some people are like, no, I'm taking my entire operation over to Fansly. And I'm just going to do that because, they have yet to burn creators like OnlyFans has.
Yeah. I saw something, I think it was Fansly, and it was like they had originally been experiencing like 30 signups a day, and it jumped to like 500 as soon as OnlyFans made that announcement.
Woof.
Yeah, that's not surprising at all. I mean, the thing is like, if you're going to tell these people that they can't put their content on your platform, then they're going to find it on their platform or somebody's going to create their own.
Pussy on this platform.
No joke.
Only
I saw
cats. Only cats.
I saw developers of every sort that were just like, in my time, they're like, yo, like, what if we just made our own OnlyFans? LOL.
I mean, what have we been talking about here? Our $1 million idea, only feet.
Only feet.
Yes.
You can only post feet.
Yeah,
only
and the
feet.
only subscriber, Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah. He would be the first, for sure.
He would be
100%.
Oh, we got our first user.
The highest
Q
tier.
Tarantino.
Wait,
wonder if there's
So insider baseball. So I have been looking into buying an onlyfeet.something domain to link it to our YouTube channel. But somebody owns onlyfeet.com, and now I'm thinking, is that Mr. Tarantino using his Pulp Fiction money to own onlyfeet.com? I'm just saying.
I mean, I would think he's not that tech savvy, but you never know. Maybe he has his people on top of it.
He's funding it. Yeah, he's funding a greater community of feet pick producers.
Yes. But no,
this is something you can do on OnlyFans, which I think way back that's what we joked about. We were like, we could go on OnlyFans and post pictures of our feet because that's the kind of freedom a platform like that. If someone's going to pay for it, it's a libertarian ideal, right? You just put it out there and maybe someone will pay for it.
And that's kind of the crazy thing I think we've all been struggling with, or at least like content creators have been struggling with over the past 2 decades, right? Is that on the internet, pretty much ever since the early days of YouTube, right? There have been content creators who use a platform that is not their own to create their own platform, right? Like, which is their YouTube channel or their OnlyFans, is it channel, wall, account?
Yes.
I think people say account.
Hot tub.
My OnlyFans, right? Like So you have these content creators who use another service to have their own platform.
Right.
But rarely, I guess it only gets reported when the platform does something that is not in the best interest of the creators, and usually makes a lot of the creators angry in some way, shape, or form, right? And yet nothing has really changed for the most part. YouTube still, like, if you want to make videos on the internet, YouTube is still the place to go.
Yeah.
If you want to post pictures of yourself on the internet, probably right now OnlyFans is the place to go, right? Or maybe Fansly if that seems to be doing well, right? Yeah. But it's still this never-ending narrative of these people with power, usually big wigs in suits who have a lot of money, do shit that fucks over the smaller people that are on their platform,
Yeah. I think it's an extremely strange and monopolistic relationship that a lot of these companies have. I mean, YouTube specifically, the thing is you could be the biggest channel in the world, have 1 million subscribers, 50 million, whatever. But if YouTube decides that, man, and they can just be like, boom, like Thanos snap. Your channel's done. Your livelihood's gone. I see it every once in a while. I actually saw it today, scrolling through my feed on Twitter, and somebody who has a YouTube channel was just like, yeah, YouTube unfairly deleted my account. Like, that's like at the snap of their fingers, YouTube just takes away someone's entire livelihood, and now they had to fight tooth and nail to get it back in some cases. And it's really terrible if you think about it, because back in the early aughts, maybe late 90s, when the .com boom was happening, everyone was getting their own websites and all that stuff. Where did you go to get content? You went to someone's website, or a dozen different websites really for all their content. Now out of sheer convenience. 'Cause, I mean, it's human nature, right? To want everything just in one place, ready to go, convenient, easy to consume. I get that. But for a lot of these creators, it's just not healthy for them.
Yeah. You don't want them to get these bigger platforms like YouTube to get too comfortable. And the idea is like, well, we're the only, we're so integrated at this point that no one's going to upload elsewhere, right? Like Daily Motion, fuck that. That's
many vids.
Yeah, it's not going to be a thing.
Well, I
don't think anything's too big to break, though.
True. And Daily, I'm curious because before this, I didn't even know that like some of these mainstream celebrities had OnlyFans, right? But something tells me like Cardi B isn't posting nudes on her OnlyFans, if I had to guess. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't believe so. Right.
So my question is like, with YouTube making a lot of their decisions that have been happening in the past 10 or so years, I'm willing to bet a lot of it is because, Conan O'Brien was on YouTube. Stephen Colbert is on YouTube, right? Like a lot of these mainstream, like old media is coming onto YouTube for like all sorts of stuff. And it's not just late night hosts too, right? It's like news. You can watch sports now on YouTube with certain subscriptions, right? Like it's
check out our Is YouTube Too Corpo episode.
Thanks, Bert. So that's
right.
Bert. Yeah. So I imagine that presence on YouTube is fueling a lot of their decisions. And I'm wondering, do you think that in that same way, a lot of these mainstream celebrities, that their presence on OnlyFans is perhaps fueling these decisions in some way?
I wonder, but we have examples of becoming more mainstream and embracing mainstream celebrities won't save your platform, because Tumblr tries really hard these days to be like, yo, we have an exclusive interview with celebrity number 8.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. I couldn't think of someone. I think at one point they did have like a BTS special, and it's like that should have been, that should have blown up because, BTS, strongest army in the world, etc., etc. But Tumblr has so thoroughly betrayed its users that even the embrace of like, oh, we're like, a big platform and we can get big celebrities on here, and look, Halsey is posting on here. Halsey, I believe, deleted or abandoned her Tumblr account following the not safe for work ban of 2018.
Sounds like that ban didn't go smooth like butter for Tumblr. That's right, BTS fans. I see you. I see. You have permission to dance. I see you.
I feel so old.
Someone asked me who my bias was, and I was very confused.
Your what?
I now know what that means.
Your bias.
But I don't have one because I'm sorry. I'm not a big fan.
Colin, what do you think a bias is?
I mean, the traditional definition of a bias?
No, what do you think it, like when we're saying, hey, we are talking about BTS, who's your bias?
Is that like which one of the members of BTS is like your soul animal?
Boy.
Your soul,
your boy.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, something like that. Basically, you're just picking your favorite, be like, yeah, that he represents me.
He's my bias. He's my boy, yes.
If I ever pretend to be a big K-pop stan, it's like that's the word I'm going to pepper in there to be like, I swear I'm one of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. With K-pop, I'm just like, I just got to pick one artist and one very specific deep cut, just so I sound really official in very short shrift
totally
conversations.
Know what you're talking about.
And that deep cut, K-pop. Daddy by Psy.
Yes. Listen, I don't care how popular he is. Psy is still, to this day, some of the best K-pop I've heard out of everything.
He's good stuff.
Yes,
I mean, Psy's good.
Stuff.
So
it's not good stuff.
Tumblr?
Tumblr.
Well, has Tumblr ever been good stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, seriously. Tumblr, like, I'm not saying that the not safe for work content made Tumblr what it was, but I kind of am also because previous to December 17th, 2018, Tumblr was somewhat of a den of iniquity. You could post anything on Tumblr, and people were posting anything and everything on Tumblr. To this day, Tumblr is mostly users of the female persuasion, or those who identify as such. And therefore, all the sexy content was like illustrations of your ship getting it on, or very sexy GIFs from maybe some sexually explicit shows, like Queer as Folk. That's how I was exposed to a lot of things that made me question things about myself, was through Tumblr.
It made you question Jesus and good Christian value, Christian family values.
Yeah, and that's why Tumblr had to be stopped in its tracks from corrupting, because Jesus. I mean, there are, I won't say conspiracy, but maybe some more lowdown theories, I guess, that all this censorship is part of a larger conspiracy to make the internet a more Christian place.
Is this Q? Is this going to be a QAnon episode, Daily? I need to know now, or else this is entrapment.
No, it's not. Okay. But I will mention some white supremacy things, so buckle in for that. Trigger warning right there.
Click.
So, Tumblr was pretty boppin' back in the day with some of the aforementioned content. Also, just like weird memes and GIFs, and Denny's was on there. And the Denny's corporate Tumblr was so trippy, and I loved it. It's like they would post the weirdest shit, and it was like peak Tumblr.
Obligatory. What the fuck is up, Denny's?
Thank you. They would have welcomed that kind of content. But Tumblr was doing its own thing. But then Tumblr was acquired by Yahoo for $1.1 billion.
And Yahoo's doing so well now.
Oh, man.
Yahoo's doing great. Very great. Very great. But in November of 2018, you could not download Tumblr on the iOS App Store because Apple was like, your policies that scan for child porn aren't up to code. And so Tumblr was like, okay, we're going to get rid of all explicit content. All of it. All of it.
You know what that sounds like to me, though? Is they just didn't have the infrastructure or the back end support, or maybe even like just the software engineering prowess to like properly get that up to code. Or maybe their back end was like, from a code perspective, so fucked that their only choice was to just drop all like NSFW content.
It's so funny you say that, because they were very confident in their back end, I think, and in getting rid of back ends via an algorithm that would search for sexually explicit content and female presenting nipples that were not part of like art. That was like so adult content in this updated terms of service said, don't upload images, videos, or GIFs that show real life human genitals or female presenting nipples. This includes content that is so photorealistic it could be mistaken for featuring real life humans. Nice try, though. This is written in the official terms of service in parentheses. Nice try, though. Certain types of artistic, educational, newsworthy, or political content featuring nudity are fine. Don't upload any content including images, videos, GIFs, or illustrations that depict sex acts. For more information about what is the check here. So when this algorithm was unleashed onto the platform to get rid of all the not safe for work stuff, it was just flagging everything. And if you had a post that was like, hey, I drew a picture of a robot that was for some reason called not safe for work, what do I do about that? You could appeal and then say, like, I want a human to look at this and confirm whether or not this robot is sexually explicit. I don't think that worked out for anyone. When I was on the platform at the time watching everything burn, it was a very much this is fine moment as the fire crackles in the background. Like, no one was getting like actual appeals checked. Like they said you could, if your fan art or your posts, even text posts, is flagged as sexually explicit, but it's not, then just contact us and we'll have someone look at it real quick.
Did any of them get fixed?
No. So a ton of content was just purged. I mean, like, it was weird stuff. It was like, I made a cross-stitch picture of Bulbasaur. Sexually explicit. Get rid of that shit. That's so nasty.
Oh my god.
Well, because, Bulbasaur has a whip. Doms typically have a whip. Therefore, explicit.
I'm glad you bring that up, too, because Tumblr was a huge hub for, like, kink communities. And it's like, as Robert always says, don't yuck someone else's yum. It might not be your thing, but it was a gathering place for a lot of communities that dealt with, maybe some not safe for work things. And they were essentially said, get out, go away. You're bad. Well, you're not profitable.
That's the thing, Daly. You can't have sexually explicit content if you have no content. That's the secret.
Shit.
Right.
You know what? Actually, they should have just maybe they should have just nuked Tumblr altogether. They might as well have, because Tumblr stopped being so relevant. After this, it's arguable whether or not it was still relevant at the time. But hey, I was on. And Yahoo, which is now owned by Verizon, sold Tumblr back to WordPress for $3.3 million in 2019.
That's such a pitifully low number.
That's like 3% of what it was originally sold for. If my napkin math is right.
Yeah, is less. It's significantly less.
They certainly nuked themselves fiscally. Jesus.
Yeah. It was the combination of the not safe for work ban of 2018 and opening, and part of the reason the not safe for work ban was a thing was because they were like, we want advertisers, and now it's like you'll see memes about it. Tumblr has the weirdest fucking ads. They're like the ones that you hope not to find when you're on somewhat shady sites, where it's like, did you know that you can heal a turtle's shell with this cream?
Oh no.
What?
It's just weird. It's just weird shit. It looks like Tumblr shit posts, which is kind of enjoyable to scroll through, but ultimately they're artificial shit posts.
Right. That
are trying to sell you something.
See, so it's interesting you say Tumblr shit posts, because like for me, from the outside looking in, I've never been a Tumblrite. Is that what y'all call yourselves? Tumblersons?
Well, yeah, sure. Oncelers.
Tumblarians.
The act of tumbling. I would say tumbling. I'm tumbling right now.
The folks who have been on Tumblr at one point in their lives. I've never been one of those.
Tumbled?
No. But from the outside looking in, nowadays, whenever I'm scrolling through like Reddit or Twitter, like other media services, I occasionally run into screenshots of Tumblr posts of people like interacting on Tumblr, and it's like shit posts, and they're like meant to be funny. And I still, to this day, my initial thought is, wow, this screenshot must be old, because who the fuck's on Tumblr anymore? Then I have to override that with like, no, wait, Tumblr is like still around, and this is probably something that was posted in the past week or so, which is always wild to me, because I don't think about Tumblr anymore outside of that one company, that one media conglomerate that just kind of destroyed itself from the inside out.
I think what happened was that after the destruction, after the great cataclysm, Tumblr became people's like tertiary posting, especially for like artists or writers or people within fandom. So they're like, oh, I posted this already on my Twitter, in my Discord like community. Maybe I should post it to Tumblr too, just cause it's not a priority. Whereas previous, it was a social hub for a lot of communities, and now it's just like, I should check my Tumblr. Let's see what's happening, just for the fun of it.
I think at least from my perspective, the biggest loss from Tumblr just dying was basically that Tumblr, at least from when I used it, was a lot of people kind of using it as like a personal journal almost. There was like that kind of aspect of like, you can use this as a journal, but like other people can see it, but it's stuff that you're not necessarily comfortable putting out there to the masses, or putting it on a platform where your parents and family are, like Facebook or potentially Twitter, if your parents are hip. And just you have a lesser following usually on Tumblr, or a lot of strangers follow you rather than, it's your friends and family. So like, I don't know, there's something where you feel a little bit more anonymous, so you can post whatever you want on Tumblr or talk about things you wouldn't otherwise. And I think that's, I don't know, I feel like there isn't really a good place for that. Maybe some people use Medium, I think, for stuff like that. But like otherwise there hasn't really, I don't know. I don't know much about Medium, but that's like the biggest loss, I think. I think that's, there hasn't really been a good spot for that since, in my opinion.
So before Tumblr,
oh no,
there was this little site called LiveJournal. Do y'all remember LiveJournal?
No, I don't even know if I've heard of it.
You child, it's fine. It was.
Aren't I older than you?
No, I'm old. You're the baby.
Oh, that's right. Fuck.
You're the baby
by
here.
like a few months.
Sit down, kiddo, and listen to LiveJournal.
Like, you're tall, but you're not old.
God damn it.
Yeah.
I'm 25. So, my brain stops developing sometime this year, I guess.
Back in, I don't have any dates on hand for LiveJournal, but back in the day, LiveJournal was Tumblr-esque in the idea that it was very much communities based around fandoms. And that was where everyone would be like, here's all the links to my fanfiction.net fanfictions, and here's my recommended fics, etc.
Yeah, my X-Files fanfic, please read.
Literally. And it was very much a place where people would bare their souls and other things in written form. Typically, it didn't really support a lot of like images or GIFs, but that it was a place like that, as you were talking about, Colin, somewhere people would journal for strangers to read, but not necessarily for their IRL friends to read. And then they were like, we're getting rid of sexually explicit content on LiveJournal. And then everyone left LiveJournal, and
wait, did
now
they actually?
it is a relic.
Did they
the
actually?
proof is in the pudding, even before the Tumblr thing. What the fuck? Oh my
god, it's a pattern.
But it's a pattern.
It's a pattern. No horny on internet, please. I guess. I don't know.
If we don't study history, we're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
It's not like the internet was built basically because of porn or anything like that.
I mean, technically it wasn't, unless someone in the military was like super horny in the 80s, which I mean, probably. But
yeah, but the earliest growth on the internet was attributed to porn, from what I understand.
Yeah. I don't even think we have to say it's like sexually explicit content or porn or people seeking out that kind of content is even like an internet thing. It's just a human nature thing. Like we have Da Vinci drew nudes, y'all, not just like, ooh, artistic nudes, but it's like, here's a doodle of a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like organisms were meant to reproduce or something. I don't know.
Gross.
Disgusting.
That's gross, Colin.
Yeah, nothing like continuing to exist as a species. Am I right, guys?
Well, give us a few more decades. I don't even know if we'll be able to.
I don't know shit. That's another episode.
Anyway, so drawing this back to OnlyFans, right? So when you look at Tumblr today, the old decrepit ass dinosaur that it is, right? It's still relevant because you can still go on tumblr.com for free for some reason. But you can, right? And it's so easy to like screenshot a shit post it on Twitter or Reddit for some dank karma and likes, and there you go, right? But let's pretend it's a world now where OnlyFans erases all that sex content, right? And it's now just like mushrooms and fitness pics. You can't post someone else's fitness pics that you paid for on OnlyFans to Reddit or Twitter for that dank karma or likes. And not that I'm propagating or saying everyone should content farm other people's content, but there is something to be said about how Tumblr is a place I still think about, even though I've never used it, because I see the memes on the other places I do use. And without that being done for OnlyFans, if they had gotten rid of the sexy times content, I don't think I would ever think about OnlyFans ever again.
Where's the relevancy?
Exactly. And then give that a few years, and then OnlyFans shutters, and Fansly or whatever takes up that new space of like being that online inclusive space for sex workers where it's making a name and money for itself.
Yeah. We're definitely talking about this with the assumption that if OnlyFans were to have gone through with this, someone else would have stepped up and filled that role.
Yeah.
And then if they got shut down, then it would just be a continuing cycle of like, we will host you. Sorry that you didn't get hosted, until that becomes some kind of legal or monetary issue.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen posts and people fearing that this is going to be part of a greater pattern where it's like, no, actually, we're going to make it so difficult for you to host sexually explicit content that no one's going to want to touch that.
Gross.
Yeah,
which is some basic censorship.
I think it alludes to the greater conversation around how ubiquitous sponsors are becoming with content creators, and how content now needs to be increasingly more squeaky clean. Because it's so funny because it's like on the internet it's like a bell curve. Because at first the internet was like the fucking Wild West, right? You could do whatever the hell you wanted, and because they were trying to get away from TV, and now it's circling back, and basically because all the sponsors are coming in, like it's watching television. Now they have to censor themselves again. It's because certain YouTube creators, like, they don't say fuck, they don't say shit, they don't say whatever other curse words you want to say.
We're demonetized now, Colin. Thanks.
Yeah, that's why we never say fuck or ass on the YouTubes.
Pussy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, like for cats. Cats specifically.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, but it's like, I mean, those people like just straight bleep themselves because they're so goddamn scared of losing their sponsors. And, even people that don't watch sponsors, anymore, that now you have baked in ads, like 3 minutes of a 10-minute video or just an ad read.
I mean, that's why we'd like to thank Shadow Raid Legends for
Raid Shadow Legends.
Shadow Raid Legends. Actually,
they gotta pay us first.
But I mean, the thing is, it's not even about sponsorship. It's literally about YouTube algorithm itself. Like,
that too.
Because, they check your video and you have to like say, is this video explicit or not? Right. And same with Apple Podcasts, right? Like, we've taken this, we've fallen on the sword. We will proudly say fuck, like, whenever we really want to. Right. But like,
pussy.
Yeah, but I'm sure we take a hit for it from an algorithmic perspective, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and for context too, I mean, it's not been, I don't know, it's not even been a year since we made that YouTube video, the YouTube is too corpo video, because I think in some point in that podcast, I actually talked about the way that the upload process works on YouTube, right? And it changes so often and so much, so drastically, that like I can tell you right now, like, since that video, like, now they ask you if you have kids in any of your videos. They ask you like how like, is there any explicit content of any sort? Like, and then now tags don't even matter when it comes to uploading your video. Like, they just straight up tell you, like, tags don't matter. Mm-hmm. So the uploading process is becoming more and more automated. Like, they just, I guess it all hinges on that check that they do. You just roll the dice and just hope to God YouTube doesn't find anything that it trips up on in its algorithm and doesn't just shove your video down to the lowest depths of the recommendations.
Are algorithms sexist?
Probably.
Are they like, I think someone built these algorithms with the old white man in mind.
Man, that's a very inconvenient truth, Daily.
Thank you.
I mean, we already do know that, algorithms can increasingly make people racist and like basically fuel their biases.
Yeah, fall down that alt-right rabbit hole.
Who's building them? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, just as an example.
Also, I forgot to mention, I even gave a trigger warning, but Tumblr, it is totally safe haven from all those female presenting nipples that you were worried about. But if you want to, talk about how great the Third Reich was and how all other races are inferior to the white race, that's fine. You can do that. That's all the Nazi imagery you want. It's there on Tumblr.
Yeah, squeaky clean, wholesome content.
On
right?
Tumblr.
Okay, so no titty, but yes swastika.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you can send I bet there's people already making like swastika pasties. I bet that's a thing, unfortunately. I hope it catches on your nipple hair and hurts. But yeah, those female presenting nipples, bad shit. You gotta go to OnlyFans for that. And thankfully you still can go to OnlyFans for that.
Yeah, you can. I don't know. It's a messy situation, man. I mean, because that, like, what we're really getting at here too is just, you know, at least as far as I know, the big reason why OnlyFans chose to go in this direction, right, was because they were getting stakeholders involved and they wanted to make even more money than they were already making, right? And they already take how big of a percentage? Do you know this off the top of your head, Daly?
I do not. But that's a good thing to note here. This decision wasn't because it's like we're gonna have to shut down if we don't get rid of this. It was we're gonna make less money if we don't get rid of most of our creators.
Yeah, but are they though? Like, I mean, how do you come to that conclusion? How? Because if you're OnlyFans and you're like the execs there, like, how do you come to the conclusion such an out of touch conclusion that you're going to make more money if you make such a drastic shift? Like, well, what was the inner workings there?
I bet it was pressure from MasterCard and Visa, the banks, right? Like the money institutions.
Just that?
Well,
like,
if they say we will not process payments anymore,
right?
Like that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, could they just use a like a third party processor for payments then to get around that?
Like Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think there were avenues open and available to them, but it certainly wouldn't be near as convenient as like just enter in your credit card details and you're paying for OnlyFans monthly.
What about like PayPal or something like that?
Well, but what do you use to fuel your PayPal? A MasterCard? Well,
yeah,
or
but
Visa?
like because there are fucking sites that'll be like for instance, when you buy weed and you use a credit card to buy weed, a lot of places don't recommend you do that. Obviously they tell you to pay cash if you're in a state where it's legal, of course. But some places do take credit cards, and the way that they do it is it goes onto your credit card statement as a different like company or a different like, because they use I don't know if it's like a shell company or something like that, but it doesn't, it doesn't come up as like, oh,
dank weed paid for.
Yeah, dank
actual
weed cannabis
marijuana.
Shop. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't come up like that. It comes up as blah blah enterprises or something like that.
Or OnlyFans.
Yeah, or OnlyFans.
Yeah. We really uncovered it here. This is what's actually happening.
Yeah.
It's all just a shell company for weed.
That sweet herb.
Weedy fans. Anyway,
I think. But just to finish my thought real quick, Daily, I think if they could go that route and it was easier to do that, they probably would have. I don't want to be like come from a place of naivete where it's like, just do this and obviously that'll solve your problem. Like bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, and something I do also want to say from an earlier point you made, Colin, about like sponsors, right?
Yeah,
I do wonder if you can be sponsored on OnlyFans, because I feel like there might be some sort of legal something that would stop that from happening. Because like with YouTube, you put out that content for free, quote unquote free.
Yeah. But
with OnlyFans, you have to pay like $10 or whatever to see that picture, that content, right? So if you're already paying some sort of paywall, can the other side of that paywall also be like, and these titties were brought to you by Blue Apron, where you can make your own food.
Watch me cook in nothing but a Blue Apron.
Exactly, right? Like, I feel like, I don't know. I wonder if there are laws against that or not.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, because I know like some adult creators can get like sponsors from, I don't know, like adult.
Bad Dragon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon.
My personal favorite. Check out the description for coupon code.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
won't
for-
be
for
out.
Coupon code EIP.
Yeah, but if they yeah, like I mean, so that's not an uncommon thing for, you know, adult content makers to be like, yeah, I got sponsored by like Adam and Eve or whatever.
Right, but is that sponsorship specifically for their OnlyFans content,
I don't know.
or like their YouTube?
I don't know.
You know, that's where I
Yeah.
think that avenue is. It's like if you already have to pay to see that video, can it also be sponsored externally by HelloFresh or I guess like an adult?
I would wonder, like, I would love to see like a very adult centric platform that's like you're usually getting like Bad Dragon, Adam and Eve, etc., and then just in there just a Blue Apron.
I mean,
HelloFresh.
I'm just saying.
Also,
the ad copy writes itself.
Oh,
Yeah.
For a company about eating food and then nude pictures, it writes itself. I'm telling you right now.
something
delicious,
cucumber
dripping,
carrot.
sweet,
Before
salty.
you eat one thing, why not eat some food?
Pussy.
There it
Okay.
is.
Anyway. But yeah, I don't think we can know. I guess how gun to head this decision was. Like if they were like, if we don't do this, it's over. Because then we had the turnaround. 6 days later, they got the assurances that they needed, and I don't know if that. They didn't share what those assurances are. Like, is that like OnlyFans can be not safe for work, is safe to be not safe for work forever? Or is, are there new processing stipulations for Visa and MasterCard? Because following the Pornhub purge, I believe it was Visa dropped sponsorship or like dropped the fact that they were working with a ton of adult platforms, including ye old Brazzers.
Oh.
And RedTube, YouPorn, XTube, and Brazzers. So you cannot pay with Visa on those platforms anymore.
Interesting. Well, and Brazzers is like an actual production company, right? So I wonder if
I believe so.
That decision is fueled by bad practices behind the scenes.
Yeah, I would assume that it's the issue of like not being able to confirm all content and be like everything was fine, everything's hunky dory, everyone's the age that they say they are, etc.
Right.
And you don't want to be like the company that I run pays for child porn or exploitative content.
Yeah.
I totally get that, but I think we covered that that's not the main thing that's happening here.
Mm-hmm. At least with OnlyFans specifically.
Yeah.
Can we just give a safe place for people to show titty, please?
I think it's called OnlyFans right now. For now.
Yeah. Until you can find us OnlyFeet is now going to expand. We're going to open our doors to also titties. Nothing else, just feet, titties. I think that would be a very profitable venture. Unfortunately, we're not able to buy that domain. So I think, what was available? It was like onlyfeet.work.
Onlyfeet.work and onlyfeet.show.
Oh, okay. Well, one of those has more of an appeal than the other. But if you want business-related feet pics, we got you.
Okay, so the scary thing is now, we're recording this a few days before publication, so we need to make the decision before it goes live if we're buying either of them. Otherwise, one of our listeners
People are going to jump
actually a
on that
monetary
train,
decision.
Yeah. Just we gotta put a placeholder there.
Yeah. I also do want to say, I get the sense we're wrapping up, but also just generally, I imagine I speak for all three of us here, but we do support sex workers. Generally, that's a cool thing to do. As long as you're not being exploited or taken advantage of, you do you. This is not a place for like kink shaming, slut shaming, etc. Like, you gotta hustle. And hey, if you're good at it, like,
all right.
Yeah, like there's no shame in doing it.
Yeah, that was one of the attitudes that was very prevalent on fucking Twitter after the initial OnlyFans announcement, especially, and it was always ironic because it was always like professional streamers that were like, wow, now you have to get real jobs.
Wow.
because
shut the fuck up. Twitch takes like 50% of your fucking profits, dude. So like,
it's
settle down.
Streaming is a real job. Sex work is a real job. It's all real jobs.
4K
Yeah, it's all real
dose.
jobs.
And also, like, do we need to go into the fucking cross-contamination between Twitch streamers and OnlyFans pages? Because if we do, you can check out our old episode about the hot tub Twitch.
Hey.
God damn,
There.
a lot of
Thanks,
self-plugging
Bert.
today. You know, I think, we're just creating EIP's comprehensive guide to the internet at this point.
Yes.
That's what our first book will be called.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Comprehensive. Everything you need to know about the internet in this book, for sure.
Yeah. And it's just going to be pictures of titties.
Yeah. Well, it's going to
and
be
feet and 1 foot in there.
Yeah, that's 90% of the book, and then the rest of it is like Wikipedia.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
We'll just print Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready for that coming spring 2022.
Yeah.
EIP's Guide to the Internet. Look forward to it.
Except we're not going to find anyone who wants to publish it because it's adult content.
Right, which is
Oh my
why
God.
we're going to publish a PDF of each page on our OnlyFans. One
I think
page
we're
a
going to
day.
have to get one now. Let us know in the comments below. Will you pay for our OnlyFans?
We need to park that now too.
We really do. All right. So look forward to more content from us on whatever platforms we so choose to post on.
Mhm.
Maybe that'll be YouTube. Maybe
Hey, man,
that'll be
listen.
OnlyFans.
If I got to show a little bit of chest hair to make us some money, I'm willing to play ball.
All right. He's willing to play with his balls, guys. You heard
Yeah,
it
he's-
here first.
Yeah. did say
walked right into that one. Yep.
Thanks for joining us here at Everything in Poderation, where the internet can be a bit too much. You can find us on the internet at Twitter at Everything in Pod. You can find us on all your podcast platforms, Everything in Poderation. You can email us your feet pics at everythinginpod@gmail.com. Looking forward to that. We always are checking that email and hoping and praying for feet pics, but instead getting really thoughtful emails that are detailed. How dare you send those things?
Daily does not speak for Everything in Pod Corporation, LLC, Incorporated.
We will be doing the Supernatural episode, Adam, by the way. We do have your email bookmarked and ready to go when we will dive again into the depths of Tumblr, which was... Did you guys have a nice brisk swim in Tumblr today?
No, not even a little.
All right.
No.
All right. Don't go there. Don't go on Tumblr. No one's there anyway. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.